We got XRP, gold, and silver going up. Now, I didn't use the word pump because I didn't want to offend anyone. Don't want to get checked by the thought police on Twitter. So I just used the words go up. We got the coin, we got markets going down, right? And we got markets going up. So I'm just going to use the verbiage of go up because God forbid I use the words pump to describe what we are seeing right now. But I tell you what, folks, a massive amount of momentum behind this community right now. This is so fantastic to see XRP back up, gold and silver all rallying today. I'm going to share out this live show on Twitter X right now, just so folks know that a party has started over here on a Friday night session. Let's get a party started. What do you say? So let's roll right into it with the charts, guys. This is massive, and I got a lot to cover here. We're going to talk current events, economic data, a couple data points on real estate, and then we're going to get into the markets report here live with everyone today. Appreciate you guys for stopping by for a Friday session, a little Friday night live. And it's an emergency broadcast because the markets are going up. I'm not going to say pump. Quick few things to mention before we get into it. So I am doing one-on-one sessions right now. I'm not going to give anybody financial advice, but if you want to have a chat, I am making myself available. We got more on that as far as we're going to be eventually doing business reviews and helping folks sit down and have a conversation to think through the different business ideas that we're talking about and moving on every single asset class, as a matter of fact. So this is a little strategy session, and if you want to schedule that, those are available now, and you can book it at zachrector.com along with the rest of our community resources. And tomorrow, every Saturday, we have our Discord weekly live calls at 11:30 a.m. We have a special one coming up, and I just came up with the title for it: Diddy has a deal. Folks, we're not supposed to talk about this stuff, and this is why we have to go to the private group, because I can't talk about Diddy has a deal. Diddy has a deal for you, and it's a dirty one, and we're going to talk about it because these elites, well, I know folks don't like me to call them the elites, right? But you know who I'm talking about, right? These people are sick. These people are sick. It's all coming out. We were all called crazy, lunatic, whack job conspiracy theorists for it, and now it's all coming out. And what I love to see today is that our community was applying pressure to Elizabeth Warren, asking her, you're so vocal about all these issues, but you're not vocal about other situations. And I'm not even going to get close to mentioning the names. But we're going to talk about Diddy's little deal for you. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look up what P. Diddy is up against in the legal front, and I'll just leave it at that. Of course, accusations, but many of them, and we'll let it play out. We'll let the courts decide. But I'll tell you what, there's a common theme that we see, and it's just that these people are downright evil with their agenda to control this country. And this country is one of the last opportunities that we have to free humanity and really lead the world as far as an experience and a reality where the man and woman can live free on this land. And speaking of our land, we just had 1 million acres torched in the heartland. Okay, so I'm very thankful that we had the foresight, to stack our freezer already full, right? And we've already made allocations, and I already am checking my garden seeds. And I know it's not sexy. It's not the 100x crypto, but it's going to save your life. And if it doesn't save your life, then it saves your checkbook. And then it also adds a new quality to your life. When you grow quality food, organic, you put your love into it, it's going to resonate better with you. This is the way. This is the way. It's all about community. It's all about sound money, like our good friend Lynette Zhang said. And we have prepared ourselves so perfectly for this next wave up. See, you gotta understand, this is the next wave up in these assets denominated in dollars. But for me, I view XRP as a standard. I view 1 ounce of silver as standard. Well, this is a 10-ounce bar. I view 1 ounce of gold as a standard, right? Just like a standard weight, 1 ounce, right? I view 1 ounce, that's a standard value. And in relation to dollars, dollars have been devalued. We can, talk about the fundamental value of gold. Lynette Zhang says 40,000. I say, let's find that out. That sounds like a really good time to me. We talk about, silver ready to make a move up towards at least $30 probably within the next year or so is kind of the consensus. But that's just getting started for silver as well, too. And then in the XRP opportunity, we talk about, wow, just go to $5-6, you're looking at a 10x. Once again, it's not a 100x degen crypto meme trade, but, I don't spend my time doing those trades. I'm very happy to get a 10x because if you stack up enough cash to be able to invest in a way that matters, right, we can really compound something in a way that actually makes a difference. Not just gambling our allowance money like the kids are doing, and then they want to run around and say, oh, I was listening to DAI today, and he calls them Mickey Mouse coins. The kid turns his $500 allowance money into Mickey Mouse coin, and it goes up, and he, has 5 racks now, and he's a big kid, he's a big shot, and he made it on Mickey Mouse coin. And these stories come, these stories go. What we're watching built is something that's decades in the making. That's literally hundreds of years in the making. Gold is at all-time highs against the US dollar. It is in price discovery against a fiat failing currency. This is not, something that we're talking about happening down the road. This is what we're living right now. And XRP FOMO starts to kick in shortly if this continues. I'm not here to try to pump this thing up any more than just, hey, look at the fundamentals. I'm not here to shill XRP. People think that I shill XRP. Well, that's because the fundamentals are so damn good. I can't help it that the fundamentals are so good. If I'm being honest with you and doing honest reporting, the fundamentals are just fantastic. That's not me shilling. That's just me laying out the truth. And the fundamentals for gold, as Lynette says, up to 40,000. Do we ever get that? Is that a price prediction? Well, not necessarily a price prediction, but we get to find out somewhere in between. How much is the fundamental value of gold? How much is the dollar being devalued? This is a relationship back and forth here. And what are they set to do next? More forgiveness. Don't pay your loans. Don't worry about it. More money printing. More wars here. More programs there. New program to make you feel good. Inflation is what this all equates to. No matter whether it's the bank term funding program, which is about to end in March, which is why we are alluding to our thesis that the banking crisis is not over, and the fact that it's not over based off of New York Community Bank down another 30% in the last 2 days. It's not over. And so whether it's the bank term funding program ending, or another program getting renewed, it's all a form of inflation. And it all equates to a higher price on our investment thesis. And boy, oh boy, is it going to be one hell of a journey to find out how high these things go. But once again, for me, I'm not trading my XRP back to US dollars so that I can hold US dollars. If I ever do trade XRP back to US dollars, it's because I'm keeping it within my investment bucket, my investment funds, but I'm moving it to a different asset class. XRP to USD because the person selling me a real estate deal wants US dollars. The person selling me a business wants US dollars. So I'll go, XRP to USD, all these people say, we need to use our XRP. Well, it's one thing to use it, and it's one thing to understand whether or not you believe it's a reserve currency or not, because I do. And I've been very clear about that. I view gold as the answer to our problems. I view XRP as potentially one of the answers to our problems. The agenda is to just never address the problems, continue kicking the can down the road, and printing more dollars. Eventually, you have currency crisis and complete failure. We've seen the experiment played out for the entire history of mankind. Fiat currencies come and go. And so we have markets up right now. Not going to call it a pump. Markets are up right now. This is fantastic. Let's go through the economic data. Let's go through the current events, and then we'll take a look here at just how high these things can go before we get what I believe is going to be a correction coming in here shortly. And now I know, some folks are going to click out of the video because they only want to put on the bullish blinders. They don't want to see the truth. They don't want to see clearly, right? They want to only hear up, up, and away, bro. Don't talk about anything else other than pump it, right? But I'm still sticking to my guns that this thing has stretched too far, just as crypto does over and over again. This is the beautiful thing about this new asset class, is how far it can go, but remember how quickly and how far it can come back. So just be prepared. And if you haven't looked outside lately, the world is burning down around us. There still are just a few issues. But if you live in your crypto cave and you never go outside and you got an AI girlfriend and you live in the metaverse, then hey, life's good. So when you wake up and you take a look, and when you look at the economic data and you don't just listen to talking head pundits like Jim Cramer, there's a different story. There's a different reality taking place on the ground. And the folks that don't get prepared now are going to get left behind. This is why we continue to bring you guys updates every single day. If you appreciate what we do, you know what to do. Let's get it started, folks. Right on into it. So big update. Let's check the charts here real quick, and we'll do them again later. But right now, as we speak, it's 8:30 on the West Coast, 11:30 Eastern on a Friday night session, 62.8. We did go up to nearly 64 cents. So for those of you guys that watch the video tomorrow and XRP's drop back down to 60 cents or 589, whatever, you know, leave that comment. Let me know. That's fine. That's why I titled it Go Up. And with the understanding that tomorrow morning we might wake up to a pullback already, right? Bitcoin's at 62,000, absolutely. And it went up to about 63.9. Let's round off to 64,000. Why don't we just give it to them? 64,000 for Bitcoin. And once again, that was on Wednesday. So we're looking at basically what crypto did this week. Bitcoin went nuts. Ethereum went nuts up to 3,500. XRP finally catching up, joining the party a little bit late. But now this is where XRP FOMO starts to kick in. How about a little XLM? I forgot to include XLM in the title of this video. XRP, XLM, gold, and silver. Funny how that works, isn't it? Now, how about a little Algorand action up to 23 cents? Okay, XDC's been lagging. XDC's been lagging, still at just over 4 cents right now. Don't even care to look at Solana or Quant right now. How about our Flare? Let's see where Flare's at right now. Okay, yep. So right above 4.5 cents right now for Flare. We'll continue to watch it. Stronghold looking to regain 1 penny. Stronghold looking to regain 1 penny. We'll watch it. Okay. And as we mentioned, silver, big fat green candle. Now, I am zoomed out far enough that you can see that, I mean, 23 bucks is nothing. The green candle, though, what is this an indicator of? What is this a signal of? I would be a little bit concerned if I was in the stock market right now. Gold is sending a signal. Silver sending a signal. This isn't over. The banking crisis is going to continue. And as Tavi Costa says right here, you gotta love gold decisively making new highs, completely off the radar. NASDAQ closed all-time high, S&P closed all-time high, Bitcoin's near all-time high. Everything is pumping in the stocks and the equities. So who cares about precious metals? Who cares about this little pet rock, right? Nobody cares about this. It's being completely overshadowed. Just like my good friend Rick Rule says, he loves to invest in what is overlooked and hated. And it's been a rough go at it for the equities in gold as well. Mining stocks still at distressed valuations are yet to reflect the changes in the fact that gold's already broken back out. A lot of these equities still struggling. The train is leaving the station and overwhelming skepticism is about to morph into a major opportunity. Massive shift underway. Now, talk about a transfer underway, $90 trillion wealth transfer from CNN Business. Millennials, if you thought that we were jacked up now with memes, with nonsense, with Wall Street bets, millennials stand to become the richest generation in history after $90 trillion wealth transfer. So maybe I should get bullish on the metaverse. In fact, I am bullish on the metaverse. I don't plan on being in the metaverse. I don't play video games anymore. I used to game very hard. I would have killed all you guys at Call of Duty or Battlefield. I loved me some of those games. And we absolutely dominated at those. But I don't play those games anymore because, as you can tell, I was way too into it. Whatever I put my attention into, I really get into it. And so I don't play. I'm not on the sticks anymore. But once again, millennials, biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world. I don't just pull this out of my ass. The greatest transfer of wealth in world history is not just a meme. It's not just a marketing term. $90 trillion of wealth. And if you don't think that it's already underway, Americans lost $6 trillion worth of wealth last year, 5.9. I round up for easy math. So it's already underway. This is why we have been on here every single day trying to protect our community, because I know Americans are going to get blindsided by this. This hurts me to see businesses on Main Street closing up. People's 401ks getting cleaned out. Folks missing out on the opportunity to invest in the fourth industrial revolution. Folks missing out and forgetting about precious metals and commodities that actually run our world. And the millennials, right, stand to become the richest generation in history after $90 trillion wealth transfer. And you know what the sad part about this situation is? You're talking about a millennial generation that's already saddled with debt and makes such poor financial decisions that how much of this is going to get pissed away? Sorry for my language today, but I've already slipped up a few times. It's a Friday Night Live, so my apologies. What do you think they're going to do with this? You think they're going to be able to keep this ball rolling? You know, the good news is that millennials are waking up, like myself, right? I'm 29. I fit into the millennial generation, and I laugh. It's an absolute joke. In fact, I have a couple more data points for our Discord weekly call that I'm going to talk about tomorrow, stuff that I really can't talk about online here in the public platform. How we have absolutely no competition. There's a viral video of some guy working at Starbucks complaining about working 20 hours a week. This is who is set to inherit $90 trillion worth of wealth. Maybe they won't ever have to work. Between their UBI check and mommy and daddy still living off the, I gotta watch my language tonight, still living off the you know what. Maybe they don't need to learn business. Maybe they don't need to learn investing. Maybe they don't need to, show up to work. 20-hour work weeks, 4-hour work weeks, right? This is our opportunity, folks. We have no competition. Our competition doesn't want to show up for 20 hours a week. Our competition's about to inherit a bunch of wealth that they don't know what to do with. And I hope I can save millennials. I hope I can save folks of all ages. We have folks of all ages in our community from all over the world. Let me know in the comments down below where you are tuning in from. We have community all over the world from all ages, and it's a different set of circumstances for every single investor. If you're at the 60-70 range, just trying to protect the bag that you got, it's a lot different from a young guy who is just looking at maybe going to college, maybe not going to college, maybe starting a business, maybe doing a deal, maybe getting an AI girlfriend. What should I do? What's the plan? What's the program? All I can say is what I have done, the lessons that I've learned, where I, made mistakes. And the reason why I haven't failed is because I kept on getting back up. I wasn't handed any wealth. $90 trillion wealth transfer, that sounds really good. My grandfather, God bless him, he handed me down a Ford F-250 pickup truck. That's all I needed. And work ethic, values, how to start a small business in your community where it's not a fly-by-night deal. You might have a customer, you might have them for 10, 20, 30 plus years. That's a different deal. Now, what's interesting about this is we're starting to see the threat that alternative assets are posing to governments around the world. You're seeing it break faster and harder in other countries. I'm going to hone in here on Nigeria, who wants to blame Binance with a $10 billion fine after government officials claimed today that the crypto exchange's illegal transactions have devalued Nigeria's national currency, the BBC reports. Well, what's interesting about this deal, right? Yeah, Binance has done a deal, but it is your fiscal and monetary policy decisions that have devalued your currency. This is the problem for central banks around the world. And they want to blame crypto. They want to blame, as Secretary Janet Yellen would call them, Binance. They want to blame Binance instead of blaming themselves. And this is the same thing with Bank of England, which is now considering selling all UK government bonds purchased under quantitative easing to better prepare for a future crisis. You cannot make this stuff up. This central bank is eating tens of billions of losses from QE and is now worried about a crisis. Define strange. This is the problem that all of these central banks find themselves in, including the United States of America. This is why we're set to issue another 10 trillion worth of bonds this year, is because we are broke, bust. They know that Americans aren't paying their taxes, that tax receipts, well, although they still are going up at record pace, they're just still outspending them. And so bringing it back here to the United States of America, we're starting to see this political race heat up. In the lead, Trump stands by far. It's not even close. And even the unbiased polls now are showing that Trump has this election right now with over 320 something electoral votes is what they're assuming. And once again, Trump in the lead by far. Okay. I think Nikki Haley's still hanging out. I don't know why. Well, I know why, but Nikki Haley's still hanging out. When you're that backed by the rhino establishment sellout Republicans, then you get to hang out and try to act cool, I guess. But I think she'll be dropping off here shortly. Trump well in the lead, and then obviously Biden. This thing's really starting to get interesting because here back home and around the world, we are being laughed off the world stage right now. But they both went to the border. So we have Trump here saying that this is a military operation 3 times. Quote, in a short period of time, they're going to have it all covered. The operation they showed me is nothing less than incredible. And I'll say this, it's a military operation. It's a war. It's a military operation. Who else is reading between the lines on this? Yeah, so very interesting how we have Trump going down to the border. We have Biden going down to the border, but we are seeing states take a stand. And this is what interests me the most about the U.S. election cycle and where we are at politically with our current event landscape is, yes, the politicians at the federal level can talk and our presidents can definitely talk. They can go make an appearance. But what's happening at the state level to really enforce these agendas one way or the other, right? Looney Tune land is doing a different deal. And then you have common sense. Let's run a fiscal budget that's not, let's run a fiscally balanced budget. Let's, protect our people and let's just provide them opportunity. Wow. What a crazy idea. Do what we were tasked to do per the Constitution, right? Have a military and provide a land of opportunity and get the hell out of the way. What a novel idea. Meanwhile, in Looney Tune land, it's unbelievable taxes. All the wealth is leaving. You want to talk about a transfer of wealth, the wealth that is leaving these states, fueled by actions that we've seen here with Trump. Whether you like Trump or not, it's just like the U.S. weaponizing the U.S. dollar. Just because they went after Russia doesn't mean that we're going to see only Russia impacted and only Russia ditch the dollar. We're seeing a bunch of other countries ditch the dollar, ditch our bonds. And it's the same thing that's taking place right now. Even folks that are saying, well, I'm not a, fan of Trump, but what the heck is this? And this is what's causing that wealth effect to leave these states. And what interests me the most about the United States of America, yes, we have the political election on the presidential level, but at the state level, and what do I keep on mentioning? These states that are making gold and silver legal tender, this is how you really force the issue on the Federal Reserve. Now, Senator Ted Cruz making the push to ban the Federal Reserve from issuing a CBDC, I say good start. That's a great start. It's a great icebreaker. We should have a conversation about the Federal Reserve. Have we ever had an audit of the Federal Reserve? No, we haven't. No, God, no. Will we get an audit of Tether or the Federal Reserve first? Let me know in the comments down below what's your bet. Who would you place your money on? or never. If you think that we'll never get an audit of Tether or never get an audit of the Fed, let me know in the comments down below. And that's a great conversation. Let's have that. Let's just get rid of the Federal Reserve completely. Let's go back to how it was constitutionally mandated for the Treasury to issue the currency. Let's maybe task on people like Rosie Rios, who, was part of creating the last currency, the last version of the dollar. Let's put her together. We got Judy Shelton. We got some great minds that can be put here. But meanwhile, you see the current gang, Powell, Gensler, and gang, right? And so it's going to be very interesting to see what continues to happen at a state level. And then obviously we'll see if we ever get regulations from our Congress. That's the big thing. We're waiting to get regulations on digital assets. And then other than that, if we could just get them the heck out of our way, that'd be fantastic, right? And if they would just acknowledge that they're bankrupt and bust, then we could start to have an adult conversation. But they don't care. They want to keep on sending troops over. And now you're seeing this one breaking out of Canada. The Canadian National Defense Minister, Bill Blair, stated today that Canada is willing to participate in a NATO mission, which would involve the deployment of Canadian soldiers into Ukraine. Because I have a lot of Canadian listeners, I'm very curious to hear from you guys. Do you think that we should be sending troops to participate in a NATO mission, i.e. Canadian boots on the ground in Ukraine? Yay or nay? I'd love to take the poll. God bless our Canadian brothers and sisters up north. I know there's a lot of you guys that are fed up with the crap that's going on up there. And every time I feel bad about our situation down here, I look up there and I say, oh, thank God. At least we're not that far gone. At least we supposedly have some gold. I mean, we know that Canada doesn't have any gold, but, they tell us, Rosie Rio says that there's still gold there. Nonetheless, huge shout out to our Canadian brothers and sisters up north. God bless them. Now, Shannon, I see you. Good. Shannon, I see you. Good. Now, I know that there are some. I was just in Portland last weekend watching, it was the 2-year anniversary of the war starting in Ukraine and Russia. And it was Ukraine Day, or there was something else going on. But anyways, I saw a group protest. Well, they weren't protesting. They were assembled in Portland. That was an interesting experience. But they were all there and they were supporting the Ukraine. And that's fine. That's fantastic. But as I just continue to bring it back to, with whose money? With whose children? God, it actually really makes me mad. With whose money and whose children are we sending? Do you have children to send over there? Do you have money to send over there? I'm just gonna stop talking about it right now because it really pissed me off. Now, let's get into the real estate update. I got a couple data points here. This is very important. The opportunity is going to be massive. The opportunity is going to be massive. Take a look at this chart. This time is totally different, they say. Let's zoom in on it. Rates began to rise in June of 2005. Home prices peak in January of 2007, and then home prices bottom in January of 2009. What are we doing this time around? Well, rates begin rising at the end of 2021, August. Then home prices peak September of 2022. When do they bottom, right? We went 2 years to separate there, and then we went from 2007 to 2009 is how long it took to bottom. This time it happened sooner. This time it's moving faster. So right now we saw, right, rates began to rise in August of 2021. Home prices peak in 2022. Now, I don't think that they're nowhere near bottoming here in 2023. Remember, this is a market-by-market basis, though. This is pulling 30-year fixed-rate mortgage average in the United States versus the median sales price of houses sold for the United States on the right, okay? And the average price is falling off right now, folks. Based on Redfin data, the median sale price, all home types, is down 17% from a record high as of February 25th, 2024. So we're down to $365,888. This is after the average price was almost up to $450. It was about $430, $440. So if history were to repeat, right, you go 2 years out from peaking in 2022, and that would mean that we're going to be bottoming out here in 2024, which could make sense to me. This could be the start where rates kind of level out here, right? We're adjusting. This is why I call it a real estate reset. We're adjusting to the new rates. And then it's really just a matter of how much pain is Powell going to inflict on the real estate market through the controlling of the interest rates. And that same pain gets inflicted on the rest of our economy as well. Now, real estate taking a hit, pending home sales dropped by 4.9%, so the activity is down. New listings surge, largest increase in 3 years with a 13% rise. We're seeing some markets are actually now surpassing where they were pre-pandemic as far as listings available. Sales declined down by 8%. Once again, activity demand is down. Prices would be down a lot more if it weren't for the lack of inventory. That's the only thing that's keeping prices inflated is the lack of inventory in some markets, causing some markets to still go up. Define expectations of 1.5% growth. So they were predicting 1.5% growth. Sales decline actually comes in down 8%. Prices down about 9% from the high. If I go back to the last data point, you're down 17% on all home types. You go to some markets, you're down 10, 15, 20% year over year. You look at commercial real estate, it's blow up the building would actually be the best solution. Literally. We just saw the Canadian pension fund that sold a building in New York for $1. So there is a massive unwinding happening in the real estate market right now. And I think that real estate is set to continue down further in 2024 through a flood of inventory coming on this spring. And then as long as Powell keeps these rates sustained, and even if he brings them down slightly, we're adjusting to mortgage rates costing twice as much. That's 100% inflation on mortgage rates. Where's that calculated in the CPI lie? Oh, wait, it's not. When your mortgage rate goes from 3% to 6%, that's 100% inflation on your cost of debt. That's a little bit more difficult to do a deal. Your house that you thought was worth $700,000 is not worth $700,000 anymore. This is why the median price has already fallen off substantially. And that's the median price. Some markets, it's a whole heck of a lot worse. And I was just in Portland. You want to talk about commercial sacrifice? I was just in Portland witnessing it firsthand. And as I make my travels around the good old US of A and up into Canada too, actually, I'm always looking at real estate. And the commercial sacrifice is undeniable. Now, into cryptocurrency, let's talk about this one, folks. We just got through some massive liquidations, and this is what I've been talking about. We got to just rip the Band-Aid off on a few of these little boo-boos that we got. And I'm talking about Genesis bankruptcy liquidation process. Today was another liquidation by Genesis out of GBTC. That's that Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, 492 million in outflows. But after this and yesterday's 600 million, remember, yesterday we had one of the largest outflows ever of about 600 million. Today we have outflows of 492 million, and now there's almost nothing left of the 1.3 billion Genesis was cleared to liquidate. So I'm gonna have to go back and check this myself. I saw this just before I pulled up the live here, and I thought this was a good data point to share. I didn't know this. I saw the 600 million outflows out of Grayscale yesterday. I didn't know that it was in relation to Genesis. That's interesting though. Genesis, from my understanding, did hold quite a bit of their Bitcoin at Grayscale. And then Grayscale converted their Bitcoin trust into a spot Bitcoin ETF. And we just saw one of the largest outflows yesterday. But here's the good news, folks. Did Bitcoin really go down much? No, not really. Here's your chart once again on Bitcoin, right? You can see that we went up to 64,000. Now we're holding 60,000. We did go back and back test it, right? And remember, the beautiful thing about Coinbase crashing, along with some other exchanges, is it cleared out a bunch of liquidations. This is good, right? Going up to 64,000, cleared out a bunch of longs and shorts, and then coming back down here, liquidated longs. So it cleared it out going both ways. Now we're stabilizing right here above 60,000. This is pretty good to see. The good news is as long as Bitcoin can sustain, this is when alts play catch up. I think that I saw that SHIB pumped like 50% today or something. I'll pull up the chart on SHIB and we'll take a look at it. But yeah, it's up 57%, guys. This is just getting ridiculous. And this is what happens when Bitcoin sustains after going up and leading the charge. If Bitcoin can hold, well, let me make this very clear, because this is what tonight's show is meant to be about. As long as Bitcoin holds, the alts can play catch up. The alts can have fun. The alts are invited to the party. Bitcoin dominated this party. The alts have finally been allowed to come through, and they're going to be allowed to stay for a little bit, enjoy a couple songs, and then, as I predict, I believe that we do have another correction coming back in. And SHIB up 57% tells you exactly where we're at, folks. This is it. We are back. We are excited. We are pumping. We got green candles. But wait, that's all you can say if you exclusively look at crypto. If you look at the world burning down around us, there's a different reality to be experienced. And there's a reason to have some concern, some caution. Am I going to go to all cash right now? God, no. God, no. But for those who have been waiting, oh my gosh, we're going through a bear market. We're going through a recession, a silent recession. You know, we've had massive layoffs, 70,000 layoffs. I just saw a clip of Google laying off a whole department for YouTube music, something like that. And this is where we're at in the cycle, right? Massive layoffs, massive recession, massive correction coming in. And if these are, profits that are going to help you out, I'm happy to see it. I'm not selling right now because I believe that 63-cent XRP is makes me feel a little bit better than 50 cents, I guess, but it really does nothing for me. I'm not here for 63 cents. I don't break out the calculator anymore and do math on, oh, now my bag's worth this much. I don't do that on XRP anymore because I'm not here to see what my dollar value goes from when we go from 50 cents to 63 cents. I don't check to see how much my account is worth in US dollars. As I said, it's not going back to US dollars ever. Unless I'm simply just, got to pay for real estate or business or another investment in US dollars. I feel very comfortable right now with the allocations that I've made, and I will continue to wait for this pullback correction. And if it comes through, I will buy. If it doesn't come through, we make money. We keep going up. The fundamentals are fantastic for crypto long term. It's just the world is on fire around us. Bombs are dropping. 1 million acres just got scorched. Where can you put that into your TA chart? You can't. But can you put your Bitcoin to feed you into your stomach when the lights go out, when the systems go down, when we have an issue, when we have a little bit of turbulence in the good old US of A falling empire? Can you put Bitcoin in your stomach? Can you put XRP in there? No. This is why we've made all of our preparations. This is why I almost bought some seeds today at the hardware store. They had the seeds on sale. But I already know that I already have a stack of seeds from last year that I need to use. So I didn't buy any more seeds. But we're making all of our allocations right now, knowing that we got a ride to go that is just getting started. SHIB pumping 57%, 59% right now. This is what brings retail in. This is where FOMO goes ridiculous. Mickey Mouse coins start going stupid. I'm going to play, and this is what I'm talking about right here. This was shared to us in our Discord group, Lance. Huge shout out to Lance for sharing this with our group. I wanted to share this one tonight because this is the FOMO that I'm talking about that's going to be coming for XRP. You're talking about a lot of people that are just coming into crypto, and what do they see? They've invested in SHIB before they've bought XRP. And they have no idea about all of the fundamentals that we've been talking about for years about XRP. They have no idea. All they know is that XRP is there. They don't understand it. It's a centralized banker's coin, and the Bitcoin bros told them it's bad, so they're not going to invest there. And it's not as cute as a dog, so they're going to buy Dogecoin. And then they're going to buy SHIB. And then their friend told them about hey, bro, let's buy some stupid Mickey Mouse coin. That's what they buy. And then they start to understand that XRP, when it does move, it takes the whole space over. And what it's starting to do right now shows you just a little glimpse of that. When the FOMO starts to come in for XRP, and these videos like this one that I'm about to show you start to go viral, and folks go, oh crap, I've been way behind on this XRP story. I've been paying attention. I've been hanging out with the Bitcoin bros a little too much. Maybe I should take profits on Mickey Mouse coin and put it into a project with incredible fundamentals, a project that has 1,700 NDA contracts that is going viral in this TikTok video right here. Huge shout out to Lance for sharing this with us. We have covered this a few times, but I'm going to play this one because this is the type of content that is set to go viral during this next bull run, and the normies, as we call them, get caught up on XRP. Listen in on this one, folks.
Hey Dad, what's today's daily crypto news?
Well, I want to share this little tweet by Ashley Prosper because people tend to forget about the NDAs. What's an NDA, baby?
Non-disclosure agreement.
And what does that mean?
It means like if they made an agreement with somebody else to do business, like they can't talk about it.
Exactly. Why can't they talk about it? What's the secret? Let me check my microphone. Oh, it's on. Okay, good. Sorry, guys, I didn't do a mic check. So yeah, they can't talk about it. Now, this is not new. This is something I've known for years now, and it's been whispered, but nobody had an idea of what the exact number is. And we're still not going to get the exact number, but now we have a better idea of what it might look like. But those NDAs are a big deal because during the SEC case, there was a little bit of discovery, and they found this here. I'm going to read this with you right now. Check this out. So I'm going to read a part at the top of this red box here, but this is very interesting. Let's take a look at this. It says, in discovery, the parties produced over 1,700 contracts, which are specific agreements by which Ripple transferred XRP to contractual counterparties in a variety of commercial transactions. In his expert report, Schwartz organizes the 1,700 XRP contracts into 4 primary categories. Number 1, contracts by which Ripple transferred XRP directly to a counterparty. Number 2, contracts by which Ripple's counterparties agreed to sell XRP on behalf of Ripple over trading platforms.
That would be the market makers, programmatic sales. Judge Torres ruled that those were not securities. The sales directly to a counterparty, institutional counterparties, that is the one that was deemed to be investment contracts by Judge Torres.
Okay. Number 3, contracts by which Ripple paid for various counterparty services in XRP provided by Ripple. And
not a security.
Number 4, miscellaneous contracts that do not fall into the first 3 categories. Now, you may or may not be aware, but Ripple has an escrow, which amounts to about half of the XRP supply. So when I see NDAs, I see these contracts. Now, there may be 1,700 NDAs, I'm not sure, or there may be far fewer and maybe multiple contracts with each NDA. It's hard to say. But this is the first solid number we've seen where we can kind of get an idea of the breadth of what we're dealing with here. And they still have that escrow. So one of the guesses out there has been that once Ripple goes live with XRP, the escrow will be distributed among partners around the world, and then it can begin to circulate as currency or form of transfer value. So these are some of the value propositions as an investor you look at, and then you think, man, these stars are aligning. But I thought I'd point that out this morning and discuss it over my black eye, my double shot espresso coffee, and my little girl who just came back from a good workout. Hope you guys are having a good morning, and until next time, adios, amigos.
You know, and it's TikTok, man. It's where I come from, so I can't clown on it too hard. And this is why I'm going to push TikTok so hard. I still am, is because this is how we go viral. We put out our TikTokies, we do an XRP Unleashed documentary, and we go viral with this whole story. And then the normies start to wake up and realize, oh, wait, this actually is a decentralized ledger. Yeah, the supply is centralized, but what has Ripple been doing with that supply? Well, they've been treating it like a reserve currency, and they've been distributing it exclusively to institutional partners that are using it for the various utilities. And as I highlighted in last night's live show, and I'm going to remind everyone again here tonight, how little of a supply they're actually letting get out. Remember, they ended programmatic sales in 2019 Q3. Haven't done programmatic sales since. So we cannot let XRP breathe anymore because they're not doing those sales that they stopped during the middle of the bull run in 2017. You know, the email that I covered, the Let XRP Breathe email. Yeah, that one came out December 18, 2017. And XRP went from 67 cents, right where we're at right now, to $3, all-time high in the next 2 weeks. They can't let XRP breathe anymore, i.e. stop programmatic sales, because they haven't been doing them since 2019. So no, Ripple's not dumping on us. And as a matter of fact, they're not even dumping that much supply on the institutional partners. Now, per those contracts, they have distributed some XRP, and I laugh at the prospect, the idea, the suggestion by some that the one-off deal with R3 for a pre-allocation options contract to be executed under 1 cent over 3 years from 2016 to 2019 for 5 billion XRP. Sorry, but I don't think that that's the only pre-allocation contract that Ripple did. In fact, we know that there's 1,700 distribution contracts cited by the expert in this case, and they specifically also mentioned 23 counterparties cited in those contracts. So they named 23 different institutions that XRP went to, 1,700 different contracts. Will we ever get to know the full number? No. As you said in the video there, no. But this is the stuff that starts to get this story going viral. And this is why I'm going to continue to pump out the content so hard, because folks don't understand the simple math on XRP. There's very little that's actually coming to the public secondary retail markets. In 2022, when they still reported, 2022, Ripple sells 9.1 billion XRP. And this is exclusively to on-demand liquidity partners that are institutions that are basically buying XRP from Ripple essentially in an over-the-counter transaction. It's not going across the order book, so it's not impacting price. All it is, as far as an impact on price, is some supply is coming into the market. But I'm going to show you how little of supply is coming into the market. 9.1 billion sales in 2022. How much did Ripple buy back? Almost 8 billion. So the net sales was about 1.217 billion on the year. 1.217 billion. I'm rounding off for simple maths to make it simple for everybody listening. That is equivalent to about 100 million XRP per month. Okay, that's in 2022 though. So it's very simple, folks. They're not dumping billions like the haters like to say. Now, today's an escrow release day. It's March 1st, right? And so 1 billion XRP gets released to Ripple. What are they doing with it? They're returning 70 or 80% of it back to the escrow. What does that do? It time locks it once again. And now that they have about 40 billion in the escrow, it pushes it out 40 months minimum. Assuming that Ripple sells off 1 billion XRP or keeps it and doesn't return any XRP back to the escrow, they don't even have to sell it. But if they just keep it out of the escrow, it would take them 40 months to go through 40 billion XRP, 1 billion per month. Very simple and easy math to do. So when Ripple takes the escrow here today, we can go and we'll watch the transactions. I'll report back on it tomorrow and over the next couple days. You'll see once again that they're returning about 80% of it back to the escrow, which locks it back up for about 40 months with their current holdings at 40 billion in escrow. And the reason why they've done this, in my opinion, is because they are allowed to write it off on their balance. On their balance sheet as zero. So you have to understand, Ripple right now is using generally accepted accounting practices, GAAP, And the right thing to do, the proper thing to do, because they don't have access to it, they can't use that XRP. They write it down as 0 on their balance sheet. Okay, so this is good for them right now. But then eventually, right, when all of these contracts get unveiled and they start to distribute this XRP, and you start to see the liquidity pick up on the XRP ledger, and it's really going to pick up after we get that AMM as well. So you start to see this thing build up with liquidity, and then you also start to see people holding it on their balance sheet as a reserve as well. So then you need even more supply to be able to use it for said liquidity that you're trying to grow. You need more supply or a higher price. And when the market starts to realize that there's not billions of XRP coming to the secondary markets, this is where I believe a supply shock is incoming. When the rest of the world realizes what we've been looking at, which is they're not releasing much XRP, it's not really coming to secondary market. If some of their on-demand liquidity partners are exchanges, like for example, we interviewed CEO Simon McLaughlin of Uphold. And he told me that, yeah, we're about to be added to Ripple's ODL. We're about to be a node, essentially, on Ripple's on-demand liquidity offerings. That's an exchange where if Ripple's leaving some of that XRP out there, right? They're selling off 9 billion, they're buying back 8 billion. There's some that's left out there. And if the exchanges, if they're not using it for ODL, then yes, they would have some available to sell to the retail secondary market. So the exchanges are getting some XRP still. It's not that they've been cut off completely. It's just that there's a trickle down. The public Joe Blow retail secondary market investor is getting the crumbs that are left after ODL institutional flows. And as the AMM goes live, this is where folks don't sell. They allocate XRP to the AMM. Ripple allocates XRP to the AMM, and then that XRP stays parked there. And this is where, just like I mentioned in the last post, you saw outflows of the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Where did they go? They went to they went to BlackRock. They went to others. There's still so much demand for Bitcoin right now from Wall Street that they're eating it all up. They're eating up all those outflows, hundreds of millions of dollars. And we've seen days where they're trading billions on the spot ETF market already. It's been one of the most successful ETF launches ever. So I got to respect it for what it's worth, even though Bitcoin's not my favorite. Bitcoin doesn't turn me on, doesn't get me going. I got to respect that though, right? But once again, this is where the Wall Street institutions start to eat up all of these assets that actually matter. While we're playing around with Mickey Mouse coin, they're eating up the reserve currency assets and the assets with the liquidity value. That's what I believe to be the most important utility is payment liquidity value. You know, there's plenty of other use cases for blockchain. Absolutely. Some of those use cases, you don't even need a token with a value represented. You could just have, you could tokenize something without even having to have value attached to it. What you need, though, is a bridge currency. That's where you need a currency. You actually need the token, you need it to be a currency, and you need it to be a bridge between the different assets, between an internet of value. And we haven't even been able to build out the internet of value, Ripple's vision, on the XRPL because we haven't had any utilities besides cheap, fast, and efficient payments. And see, the TikTok videos start to go viral, XRP Unleashed goes viral, our community goes viral, right? And then folks start to realize, wait, I can not just make a little bit of money off XRP, but now I can park it in DeFi. And I keep on using Flare as the perfect example. The Flare community is not selling. They're not giving up. Why? Because they are delegating. Yes, they love the gains, but they also are getting the drip. They're getting the drops. They're getting the flow, passive income. And as I mentioned earlier, the millennials are set to inherit 90 trillion worth of wealth. They're going to accept their UBI, live in virtual metaverse land, and they're going to not work. They're going to put their assets to work for them. God bless them. They're going to delegate their Flare and make passive income that way. They're going to delegate XRP, make income that way. And obviously providing it for AMM liquidity is different from delegating, but you get the point. As soon as the DeFi gets opened up, folks stay in the asset. Folks start to build. No matter what the price is at, a community's building. And what interests me the most about XRP's potential is the attraction to institutions. You know, it's one thing for me and you, Joe Blow, to go make some memes on the XRP ledger. That doesn't really move the needle that much, but institutions putting real world assets on this chain and starting to settle real flows of liquidity on this chain, that's what moves the needle in a massive way. And as I continue to say, what are the alternatives? Who else has a bridge currency that's positioned with the liquidity that we got building right now? There's no one. The only asset that has as good of a liquidity would be Bitcoin. You know, I mean, it's just facts, right? Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? But nobody wants to use Ethereum for payments, right? And mostly people don't even want to use Bitcoin for payments, even though it has some of the best liquidity. That's the crazy part about Bitcoin. It has great liquidity because the price is so high, and there's plenty of it to trade around still, but people, you know, still don't even use it for a means of payment. In fact, look at institutions. None of them are using it for payments. Very few. I mean, you're talking about people send payments on it, but nobody's going to the Bitcoin network and saying, I'm going to run a payments business, or I'm going to run the payments in my business on the Bitcoin ledger, the Bitcoin network. Nobody's doing that other than Lightning and that pipe dream that Jack Mallers has. The Bitcoin kid. It's a really cute little story. What a weirdo dude. Every one of his interviews, he's in like that empty closet. It's like so fake. It's like so weird. What a strange little guy. If you guys haven't already, please like this video. Let me do some Q&A. Appreciate you guys for stopping by. Let's enjoy ourselves here. I got my adult beverage. Let's do some Q&A. How are we doing? How are we doing? Guys, SHIB is up 57%. What else do you want from me? Okay, I'm going to respect the pump. The fundamentals are terrible. The economic data is death defying. Okay, the economic data is death defying. We're on the brink of collapse, the road to ruin. But SHIB is up 57%. Dang it. God bless it. This is what brings in the masses. You know, maybe I'll make a TikTok about SHIB. I'll congratulate the SHIB holders. Congratulations to the SHIB community. If you guys are ready to get a real deal done here, take a look at XRP. Zach, do you believe that XRP will be worth more than gold and silver? Go on record, sir. Appreciate you. Yes, I do. Johnny, yes, I do. Yeah. Market cap right now on gold, what is it? 10 trillion, you know? Yeah, I think that XRP gets bigger than that. Yeah. What's your thoughts on Pi? Is that the one that you can mine from your phone? Doesn't really get me excited. I got too many apps on my phone, so I don't need to mine internet money on a phone. I guess I could do it on an old phone, but yeah. Brenda, you're bringing the Traeger? Where are we going with the Traeger? Where are we going with the Traeger? Did you get your beef before our farmland got roasted? So sad. Seriously. It's an expensive outing to fire up the Barbie these days. Any Australians in the chat, by the way? It's a task to fire up the Barbie these days. You know, you're looking at, even if you just do a couple steaks. But yeah, at least I was able to get mine from a good local farmer. What's my thoughts on Zcash? I don't care for privacy coins. If I want to do a privacy transaction, I don't use blockchain. Zcash had an ETF before Bitcoin. Did it have a spot ETF? There's a lot of ETFs in other countries already. Like BlackRock just filed for a Bitcoin ETF in Brazil. There's a XRP ETP that's live in the Switzerland exchange over in Europe. There's actually a couple. Zach, missed your special guest appearance regarding Stronghold. Jeffrey, actually, I'm going to be in a space tomorrow on Stronghold. As a matter of fact, guys, at I forget the time of it. Gosh, just go follow me on Twitter, and I'll post it on Twitter. I'll post it for the Discord community as well to let everyone know there. But yeah, I'm going to be joining a community space with some Stronghold community members, and I'm really just going to learn. Actually, I'm just going to ask my questions, and I'm excited to learn. Do I think that XDC can get up there with XRP? I think that it's going to move. I think it's going to have a good run. I don't think that it's as big as XRP. I don't think it's going to solve as big of problems. Jeffrey, thank you so much. You've been in the space since 2015. That's awesome, man. Do you believe that XRP could still reach $20 in 2025? Yeah, I don't rule out high prices for XRP. I don't rule out high prices for XRP in 2025. That's a little bit high on my range. $5 to $15 is the range that I'd just love to see. Just $5 to $15 this bull run is my expectation. $20 is that's going to be an absolute party if we get to $20. It's at 4 Eastern. Thank you so much, Peaky. 1 p.m. See, you guys already know. We got the Stronghold community. Huge shout out to the Stronghold family. God bless you guys. Massive gains for your community. Massive gains for myself. I bought in late. I should have listened to you guys sooner, but I did get in on Stronghold, and we are in profit right now, and I am still holding. And I added to the Stronghold XLM AMM. I need to check on that, by the way, and see how that's doing. Zach, Ferrari or Lambo? Neither. Yeah, no, I just, Randy, I know. Well, okay, if I had to drive one for a day, I'd probably do a Lambo. I personally like I guess how the Lambos look better than the Ferraris, but Ferraris are pretty sick too. But yeah. What exchanges do I use to sell? I keep my options open, and I don't have many options, so that's my answer to that one. So I get on every exchange that I can, just about, dang near. I mean, not quite that far, but any legitimate exchange that I can use in my region, I get on because I need options. So I encourage at least having a few. A lot of people too have been mentioning Caleb and Brown. I've heard so many good things about them, and so yeah, I'm gonna check them out a little bit further, and I'll get back to you guys on Caleb and Brown as well. Land Cruiser, Segway or Schwartz scooter, Peaky. That's so great. I really want to ride one of those scooters. I never have rode one of those scooters, but I really want to. Those look like they're pretty fun. David Schwartz was zipping around pretty good on that thing, wasn't he? Huge shout out to David. The $1 trillion man riding a scooter around Denver. Does he realize what's at stake here? David, you can't be rolling around Denver, bro. This guy should be rolling around like the president with Secret Service. He's the $1 trillion man. Huge shout out to David. '58 Chevy Apache. You guys are talking about whips. Yeah, I'm not too much into cars, really too much. I like my truck. Has good utility. I can haul things. It's very comfy, very big, and then yeah, I like utility. Yes, Jackie or Jacques, I don't know how you say your name, but that's a good point. You got your Evers today, no charge on Uphold. What's that about? I meant to say this. Yeah, huge shout out to Uphold. I have them linked at my website if you guys haven't signed up with them. We have a couple exchanges on my website, ZachRector.com. Huge shout out to Uphold, because I didn't get my Evers because I didn't go through their process. I was like, not really too into this, don't really care. And so I didn't sign up to receive my Evers airdrop. But what Uphold did is, if you were holding any XRP on Uphold, they set it up for you. They received the Evers and now they've distributed them. So this is like the complete opposite from other exchanges like Coinbase, which still has my Songbird, still has many other Songbird, and they delivered our Flare late to us. We saw that Uphold proactively went out of their way to establish the trust line and set everything up for Evers. So if you were holding XRP on Uphold, yeah, I received some Evers. Many other people are reporting that they received them too. So a huge shout out to Uphold, right? I know that, they don't always work well for everyone. Some people have issues with Uphold, but like, that's respectable. At the least they did that for us, right? Yeah, the airdrop did. It was worthless, but just the idea alone that they did that, just the gesture, I thought was very respectable. Let's do a couple more questions, guys. What are my thoughts on XDC for this bull run? Okay, gosh, it's been so long since I've actually looked at XDC. What was the all-time high that it hit? I expected to do about 2 to 3x from the previous all-time high is kind of where I'm at with a lot of these coins, especially ones that have been suppressed like XDC and others that it came into the game late. But yeah, I expect like a 2 to 3x from the previous all-time high, whatever that is. I don't know what that number is off the top of my head. I thought XDC went up to like 20 cents or something, but maybe I'm mistaken. Brenda, you got one ever? There you go. Count it. Zach, you are the best, buddy. I watch every video. I was watching and holding the XRP pump to 384 when we could only buy Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum from Coinbase and send it to China Binance. Yep, Jeffrey. Yep, the good old days. Folks don't even understand that back during the 2017 bull run, you couldn't even buy XRP on Coinbase. Right? And during the last bull run, you couldn't buy XRP on Coinbase, right? Because it was delisted. So think about this, guys. We were on the biggest exchange in the United States of America for the last 2 bull runs for XRP. That alone, how much in damages did that cost? How much in lost opportunity did that cost just by not being listed on Coinbase in this bull run and the last bull run? Or sorry, the last 2 bull runs, I should say. Right? That's unbelievable. What if the government is trying to short pump the entire crypto market with what's going on with the ETFs? No major correction here, Zach. Yeah, so I hear a lot of people saying that this time it's different. There's Wall Street inflows. Yeah, there is. There's a lot of pent up demand. And this is why I think that the rally's been so big, is because there was so much pent up demand. And then the dam finally broke and the flood of liquidity is coming in, and there still is a lot of pent up demand. But eventually that teeters out, right? I mean, you are going to see it grow over time, but I think that what we're experiencing right now is we're in the first 2 months of basically inflows to a new opportunity that is one of the most successful ETF launches in its history. But the thing is, guys, we are so great in crypto. The fundamentals are so solid in crypto. Yes, this time it is different for crypto. This time is fundamentally much better than last bull run for crypto. Absolutely. That's why I'm so bullish on the space. But do you realize what happens when the banking crisis comes back up? Do you realize what happens when another major bank fails, right? Do you realize what happens if we get some sort of simulation events like March 2020, some sort of black swan? Crypto gets killed during these moments. And so that's what I'm concerned about. Not only are we due for a little bit of a stabilization, little let's find some legs under us for the rally, but also for just the broader macroeconomic situation. It's bad. It's bad. The VIX chart, the volatility index, is at the very same levels and in the same exact wedge, in the same exact uptrend that it was at in January 2020, right before we got killed. This is why I caution. It's not because I think that this is it. We're not going into a bull run. I'm not bullish. I'm not excited. No, I am. I really am. But when the black swan happens, do you think that Bitcoin doesn't go down? And I guess the thing about a black swan is you don't see it coming. And so most people would say, well, you know, you've been saying this, you've been saying that. Well, I said it was a bull trap rally all the way up to 49,000 in January. And then what happened? It crashed 22% down to 38,500. That's what I was worried about. Here we are back again at 64,000. And I'm worried about just another 20 to 30% pullback to 52. Back sub 60. There's not much support right now, even at 60. We're holding it temporarily. But that's what I am preparing myself for. I'm not going to all cash, but I'm just, keeping some cash on the sidelines. That's all it is. Many people can kind of confuse my stance as far as like, just because the world is burning down around us doesn't mean that Bitcoin doesn't rally during moments like this. This is what Bitcoin does. And it's because it is one of the alternatives. It's the same thing with gold and silver. But once again, we saw what happened. In March of 2020, nothing was safe. Gold crashed. Silver crashed. Stocks crashed. Bitcoin, crypto got killed. 60% in a month, 70% from the top. 14,000 down to 3,800. Almost went and set a new bottom after a 342% rally. Guess how much our bull trap rally is right now? 316%. And what's crazy is if we even just had a 50% pullback, we go down to my 35,000 price range. And I still have my purple box on my chart. In my purple box, it extends out into the end of March. And if I'm wrong, we make money. If I'm right, we make more money. That's the best part about where I stand. Many people confuse the facts. I'm not going to all cash. I'm not living in fear. I'm not calling for the end of the world. I'm calling for another bank gets sacrificed. I'm calling for a bomb goes off. I'm calling for disease X. I'm calling for situation. Black swan. At our current trajectory, we're set to be going into a recession later this year. Don't touch. Appreciate the 5 spot. Do you see any benefit in having a Bitcoin ETF in a Roth IRA? I mean, do you think that Bitcoin's a buy right now is the question, right? What's the upside potential that you see for Bitcoin right now? Can it double from this level? Sure. Can other coins do better? Yes. Are you limited in your options for a Roth IRA? Yes, that's the problem. For your Roth and your 401ks, you have limited exposure right now, right? You have platforms like I Trust Capital and others that are allowing you to invest in cryptocurrencies. You have other platforms that are allowing you to invest in private equity. That's where I would look. As far as Bitcoin, whether it's in a spot ETF or whether you're buying Bitcoin yourself, to me, there's just better opportunities. It's not to say that there's not gains to be had in Bitcoin. It's just there's better opportunities. If our thesis is right about going into a bull run and Bitcoin goes up to 120,000, what do you think happens to these alts? 5, 10, 20, 100x alt season. In Roth IRA and traditional 401k retirement account programs, your options are limited. That's what sucks about them, amongst other things. But I love when folks have 401ks and they can match, or their employers adding to their 401k. I love that about those programs, right? That's just, you're earning that. And then if you have the ability to control it, like in a self-directed Roth, then you're able to control your destiny a little bit better than just rolling it from one ETF that the fund manager is going to sell you every single year. I used to have a job, and it was with Morgan Stanley. I had a 401k, and when I left my job and I went into my own business, I cashed out my 401k completely and I rolled it all into my business, and I never looked back. And the returns that I was able to get from that far outweighed anything that I would have gotten in the stock market by far. But I was 21 when I did that. I was in a different position than many of you probably listening to me tonight. But Morgan Stanley, they would send their guy once a year. And I remember he would share little brochure pamphlets, new ETFs, new index funds, new deals that they were paid to shill. That's why, they're financial brokers, right? So they're coming to sell you a product, and you just have to understand that. You just have to understand, right? When someone's coming to sell you something, that's fine. I don't mind being sold. I'm a salesman. I like a good sales conversation. I like a good negotiation. I like being sold. I respect salesmen and women. But you just have to understand it when you're sitting across the table and you're talking about your money and you're talking about your investments. What's their incentive? And this is why, for many of you guys that are listening to me, and you report back to me and you say, my 401k, my financial advisor, he says that, the system's fine. Nothing's going to break. That we're not going into a recession. That Powell's going to achieve a soft landing. He's going to tell you that based off of where he makes his money, which is in the system always going up, everything being fine, everybody being able to come up with a new ETF fund every single year. And all it's meant to do is to keep your assets under their management, i.e. why the Vanguard CEO is stepping down, because he made one of the biggest mistakes by not getting in on the Bitcoin spot ETF action. For a $7 trillion asset manager, it's one of the biggest mistakes. And it goes to show you that even if you have the most money in the room, doesn't mean that you can't still be stupid, arrogant, or maybe a little bit of both, and make mistakes. Right? So, what's most important is to just know where your 401k is at, right? If you know where your 401k is at, then you're better than half the country, which has no idea where their 401k is at. So that's a great start right there. Now, like I said, guys, tomorrow in the Discord weekly call, we got a couple topics to talk about. It's going to get a little juicy, going to get a little spicy, because we're going to talk about some of the stuff we can't talk about here on this platform. I'm titling it Diddy Has a Deal. We're going to talk about the wildfires, and we're going to talk about some other situational events right now that we need to prepare for, along with the business moves that we can be making. I'm going to be dropping a tactical wealth lesson this weekend as well. That's going to be, a new installment for our business development. We have been putting together business development lessons along with tactical wealth lessons, but we're going to do a business development one on marketing. I just had tremendous success with one of my marketing campaigns, and I'm going to report back my findings and our success to the group this weekend. So we got the Discord weekly call coming tomorrow morning at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. And then I'm going to be dropping the next installment in the business development program as well, with a lot more on the way. Massive year for our community coming up, so much momentum. So if you appreciate what we do, if you could just like this video, share it out far and wide, and we got some fresh stuff coming for you tomorrow morning. I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. Thank you so much for stopping by.